Right on the set. Welcome to the Reinventing the Tattoo community. This is live in the Castro with Haley Adams and Brit. Oh shit! What's your last name?
Abad.
Abad. And again, straight from the Castro. It's always an amazing time. Fantastic stories. You are in for a roller coaster of a ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. So this is, like I said, this is Reinventing the Tattoo community. You could download the app in the App Store, either of the app stores, or go straight to community.reinventingthetattoo.com. And as always, we want to thank IHSN for creating a community where it's really dedicated for artists to be inspiring each other, sharing their stories. We have discussion panels. And yeah, it's there's almost no politics or food pictures. It's like all real, honest art and inspiration. And the goal, like I said, the goal is for everybody to become better artists. There's open art jams and drawing groups that we encourage people to join in. Guy is always encouraging everybody. He loves community and wants to bring everybody together. So as this is beaming out through the networks, I am going to let everyone know about some of our other upcoming events. And to do that, I'm going to screen share the community. So if you download the app or go to the website, then this is what you will see. And the schedule here is the first link, which is one of the main pillars of the Reinventing community. And you'll see we have our regular shows. So get ready. Thursdays at noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Jordan Rookus and Fawn Baker, where they interview amazing tattoo collectors. That every time they send over the pictures for us to show, it's slamming tattoos. It really is spectacular, and you get to hear from tattoo collectors' perspectives. We have drawing groups with Jason Lesser at 1 o'clock, every 1 o'clock afternoon on Sundays. All these times are Eastern Standard Time, just for convenience sake, I guess. And then 9 o'clock in the morning, we've got Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network leads a drawing group. And again, these are streams where people are encouraged to beam in. And sometimes we'll have, 4 to 8 people drawing from all around the world at the same time. It's pretty amazing. Monday night, this Monday night, February 22nd at 7 o'clock, we have a live paint jam with Renee Little from Oklahoma City. She's a sick tattoo shop owner and artist and tattooer. And every time she has a paint jam, it's always, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Let's see, Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, we have How to Build a Paul Rogers Style Tattoo Machine with Tony Urbanik. It's 8 2-hour webinar, hour and a half, 2-hour webinars, where you get an ingredients list and you build a tattoo machine by hand. He's not using his power tools, or he's using as few power tools as possible. You'll see him fucking filing that shit away. It's unbelievable watching him put it together. And the tattooers who are building along with him it's amazing. They're building fucking tattoo machines before your very eyes. Okay, what else we have here? Art Jam. So the first Wednesday of the month, coming up March 3rd at 1 o'clock, is an art jam with Stefano Fabriti. Everyone's speaking Italian, so it's pretty amazing. Let's see. As you see, we have so many events coming up that it's a little out of control. You could always find the replays here in the library, and we've got videos. And here we go. So this is the Tattoo Collecting Podcast show where guys interviewing all sorts of people. We've got discussion panels, the Tattoo Collecting Podcast, Let's Talk Tattoo with Mark from Needle Jig, the history of tattoo conventions, if you're missing tattoo conventions. Alex from the worldtattooevents.com is interviewing convention promoters, so it gives us a little bit of the fix. Here's a drunk critique. The last one in here is a 9-hour holiday special. Actually, just got written up in Tattoo Society, so go pick up your issue of Tattoo Society this month. You should pick up every issue. It's always great. We had the replays of the Live in the Castro. Ace was the last one, Leslie the first one, and you could always catch the replays there. I do want to plug our sponsors because they help make this free. And we've got Inkjet Stencils has a couple webinars. They've got videos here of Andre Malcolm printing out a full back piece. I don't know if anybody's seen this yet, but he's got the setup. It's a full back piece here. Now, they have setups for regular size printers so that you could print out your regular size stencils for it. And they also have a setup where you can send in your images and they will give you 5 free samples. So if you check out the instructions here, it's inkjetstencils@gmail.com. But you want to check out this and treat out your images. But you can test it out, and it's pretty awesome. There's a lot of tattoo shops that are making the conversion over. It's pretty cool. And then the other sponsor that I want to plug on this is Loose Screw Tattoo. Jesse Smith has a sick tattoo shop in Richmond, Virginia, and they're looking for artists. It's a wicked busy shop. Of course, you want to bring a bit of your clientele. You definitely want to bring your skills. He's looking for somebody that's relatively diverse, color and black and gray. And yeah, check this out. Health, dental, 401k, paid vacations. Okay, it's pretty awesome. And Jesse he's an artist, so he's got both perspectives: the business owner perspective and the artist perspective. But for real, this is an amazing opportunity, for residents or guests if you want to do a guest spot there. But yeah, as far as advancing yourself in the tattoo world, Jesse is an amazing person to be learning from, and the whole crew there is pretty sick. Yeah, well, there we go. If you have any questions or comments, then throw them up in the chat room, and we'll maybe get rid off at the end. But for now, I think that. Oh, sorry. I should be plugging Guy's course. If you go to courses.reinventingthetattoo.com, you can't learn how to tattoo online, obviously, but these courses will help you tattoo better. And the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon is it's $300 a year, and you get the full course. So check all this out. Well, for one, you can try it out for free. The first introduction you can sign up and try for free. But he's got his full book in here. There's guest chapters, Russ and Steve Butcher. It's out of control. The Canon has helped thousands of tattooers go from being pretty good to being goddamn good. So there you go. It's courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. And we've got webinars from Bob Tyrell. This is a 10-hour black and gray epic. BJ Betts' lettering, Jeff Gogway tattooing Guy's hand, Marcus Leonard explaining what biomic is. And if you are interested in any of your online learning, then yeah, check it out. And I am now I'm very thankful. This is awesome. Very excited. Thank you, Haley, for having the show and making it happen. Once a month, it seems. And yeah, I'm going to pop in the background here. And
hi, I'm Haley Adams. I'm here with Brittny Abad. Brittny is a tattooer, lives in Portland, Oregon. She has an erotic and body positive art style, which has unexpectedly led to educating and representing a lot of queers with her beautiful and powerful artwork. We will definitely be doing like a Q&A at the end. Hang on. Gabe, is your view set up for speaker view?
You are on.
Okay, mine is like small. Okay, cool.
So everyone, you control your own view.
Ah, cool. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, it didn't change. But anyways, so how are you doing today, Britt?
Good. Excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing good. Skated a lot today to work out my nerves to like speak publicly.
Right. Always the beginning, so be a little shaky.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Give us 5 minutes, everyone. We'll be fine. We'll get over this.
We'll remember how to talk and all that good.
So you are originally from San Jose. What was life like before you got into tattooing?
So I've talked about this on my Instagram before, but my dad is an artist. So that's kind of like how I got my intro to art, but him and I don't get along. So like my entire life growing up, I tried to do everything that wasn't art. So I went to university. I have a degree in psychology, studied biology. Before I moved to Portland, I actually worked at a genetic testing company. So it's very, very different from tattooing. But yeah, that was pretty much like
what do you have to do with that, with your genetic testing?
So I was a clinical data reporter for a company that did prenatal chromosomal abnormality testing. So I just like look at blood samples, look at like reports and like data, and like make sure that everything's like accurate and like the test was like.
So do you already have a biology degree?
I did. So at that time when I worked at that company, I was actually enrolled in a master's program. It was like the summer before I moved to Portland that I decided to just like withdraw my enrollment and then quit my job and then just like moved here and was kind of just like, we'll wing it, see what happens. I didn't even have like the intention or the idea ever that I would tattoo even like when I moved here. It was kind of just like the Bay Area is so expensive. I need to get out of here. So as soon as that company let me work mobile, I just like took all of that and just came to Portland, just kind of like took the jump and was gonna see like what happened, and then tattooing ended up happening, which is like super crazy.
How did that happen?
So when I took that job over here, I was in a new city. I didn't know anybody, didn't have any friends, and I was working from home, and I was like, this is like the worst idea ever. Like, how am I gonna have like a social life or like do anything? And at that time I actually didn't have an Instagram. I just like was weirdly living off the grid for a while. I thought it was like so cool and like innovative to like not be on social media. But anyways, I made like an Instagram, and then I started just like posting all these like doodles, and it was all like scrap paper, like corner of my like notebook, like binder paper doodles. But that actually like it kind of took off, and there's this artist in Portland that I was like a huge fan of, that I admired before I even moved to Portland, who messaged me and was like, hey, did you come to Portland like to get into tattooing? And I was just like, no, like this is like so random. Why is this like tattoo artist asking me this? And then she just said like, you know, your art's like really cool and it like would translate well into tattoos. And I never thought about it before. I had always been like a fan of getting tattoos. I had like a couple at that point. But yeah, so I just kind of like started talking to her more about it, and like learning that in Oregon you have to go to tattoo school in order to tattoo. So she kind of just like told me about like how that kind of system works, how much it costs, all of that. And then I ended up going to an interview at like the closest tattoo school that I lived like nearby. And then
Was
I
there
really
a, did you like hear about tattooing before, and like you knew about like apprenticeships and stuff like that? Um, like, and you've heard like the stories about them, right? Like,
yeah, so that artist actually, like when we started talking, she was the one who told me that she had tried to find an apprenticeship in Denver, but just like had all kinds of like horrible experiences. She mentioned that like one of the like bigger shops that she tried to approach for apprenticeship did her a favor by writing her a list of shops not to go try for an apprenticeship for, because they have like abusers there or like weird things going on. Shops that he thought like take advantage of their apprentices and stuff like that. And
mhm.
so the fact that like that was just like a thing, like it was like a gift to her, was just like
Yeah, it
shocking.
was like,
It was
here's
like
the list of yeah, shitty people to avoid, and then
places
it's
to
like
avoid.
it's probably
Yeah.
like a lot of tattoo shops on there, as we've heard
Yeah.
from these
So
other interviews where like everybody's had like these they're like queer or women or whatever, they have like some pretty strange experiences with the apprenticeship. So I was wondering if that was like one of your driving forces of being like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the tattoo school thing, like, because
yeah.
it does like kind of break down a barrier there, right? Where
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure.
they're not
Yeah.
gonna turn you down. It's not gatekeeping. It's just like, no, you show up and yeah, we'll see what we got, you know?
Which is good and bad, because
Of
I
course.
mean they will accept people who have like no artistic experience or who don't have like the kind of business drive and social skills to actually succeed in tattooing, because there's like so much that you cannot learn from like tattoo school for like reading a
Absolutely.
book or something like that. You have to kind of like work in a shop. And I feel the same way about people who graduate from tattoo school and then go and open a private studio without working in another shop or with like
Yeah.
other experienced artists who have been in the industry and kind of like at least learn about that or the history or like how apprenticeships normally go.
Yeah.
So it's like it's good, but it's also easy to just completely bypass like all of that kind of knowledge, which is like super, super valuable.
Don't you think
Um,
that those kind of like those people who don't have like the art ability or like the technical side or like the insight to business, don't they just like kind of fall off? Like it's like you can line up like 20 people, they all go to tattoo school, but only like 5 actually got it. you know, to like be a tattoo artist and
Yeah,
to like
it's so bad because there's like laws about how many instructors or like kind of like teachers they have at the school compared to how many students they will take on. But I
mhm,
feel like every school in Oregon kind of like bends that. So like when
yeah.
I went, I think my class or whatever had like I think like 9 or 10 people. And out of those, I think 3 of us are still actually tattooing in a licensed shop and like have our updated licenses and like doing all that. So there's like a bunch of people I know who like as soon as they graduated just kind of fell off, like didn't go find a shop to work at or didn't know how to get into a shop, didn't like talk to people, network or make friends like actually in the industry or like with people who are already existing professionals. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of sad because tattoo school is so expensive. It's like I think it was like 10,500 when I went, and that was like one of the cheaper schools. There's some that were like 12 grand or more.
And everybody has to go in Portland, right? Like that's like the law
It's
there.
the
Like that's how
law.
you get your license.
Yeah,
That's pretty
even
wild that you have to pay that. Like even if you have like this experience, you know, you still have
yeah,
to
if
go to
you like
tattoo
were a
school.
tattooer
That's
in another state and you come
yeah.
over and try and like get your license here, you have to have I think it's like 3 or 5 years of like tax information to prove that you've been like a licensed tattooer in that state. But even then you have to apply for the license, you have to like take the state test, which is going to be super difficult because on the state test it's a lot of like Oregon and Portland specific laws. um
Oh yeah.
so it's kind of like how are you really going to like find out that information? It's like very specific. It's kind of
That
like
that
super
information is
hard.
really hard to find. Like trying to look up the laws on tattooing. You have to go through
Yeah.
like pages and pages of documents. I've had to like
Exactly,
go
it's
through that
super
before. It's
weird.
nuts.
Yeah, and like the board who writes the test, it's like I don't know how to explain. It's like you can have a tattoo studio in the same building or space as like a salon. So there's questions on the like test about like salon chemicals and things like that, which is completely unrelated to tattooing, but it's very just like Oregon law specific. So again, it's just like how are you gonna know this stuff without going through tattoo school? So it's like I don't know. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, we do learn things in tattoo school, like skin health, dermatology, like types of skin, like things that you can tattoo over or that you shouldn't tattoo over.
Did they
Um,
teach you about like skin tones, like tattooing on different skin tones and stuff?
no, which
That
like
seems like that should be like definitely a
it
part of the
should be, right?
curriculum.
Yeah. I think hopefully, like, I feel like, especially with this year and like this past year, a lot more information online has been created
Yeah.
regarding how to tattoo skin tones, and like hopefully they'll figure out a way to like implement that into the school system. But I kind of feel like the people who run the tattoo schools don't really care about tattooing. It's definitely like
They're
a
just
big
trying to make money.
yeah. I mean, imagine like if you have like 3 or 4 classes like per year and every student is paying like 10 plus grand, like it's a lot of money.
Do the teachers tattoo? Like, do they even have time to tattoo, or they just like?
Not really.
I'm like, I got a
It's
lot of
kind of like a
tattoo school
PE teacher
questions.
thing.
Like, what
That's
is a PE
how I feel. You know, like those who can't like tattoo and make it open a school.
like a
It's like,
football coach kind of thing?
yeah,
Yeah, you can
exactly.
play.
It's very much like that. And like, yeah, it's like they're teaching a school, they don't really have enough time to like tattoo. So it's like they're also not updated on like what's new and like what's happening in the like social media sphere, like different tattooing techniques.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of
And
like
that's a
outdated.
thing. That's what I was thinking about is okay, after you got out of tattoo school, you did go work at a shop. And then did you feel like I know we talked about it a little bit before, but like about how like you weren't doing like the queer like erotic tattooing because it was like, oh, that might not sell, but then you like went for it anyways, right? Or like that's not what tattoos look like, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I definitely had this huge phase of like, why do my tattoos not look like tattoos? And it was because like, the instructors and like the older tattoo people that I was around just kind of like drilled it into me that like the queer community is such a small like niche. Like if I want to succeed in tattooing, I need to draw stuff that's more universal to everybody.
I'm gonna share
Um,
my screen.
so I definitely had a phase of just drawing like skulls and daggers and like very traditional tattoo artwork. But it didn't make me happy. I didn't like it. It wasn't fun. So I kind of like would do that for like my tattoo drawings and then draw all this like erotic fun stuff in my free time. But I would post all of it on Instagram anyways, and it just turned out that this is like the kind of stuff that was like way more popular. And I guess because not a lot of people are doing it, and not a lot of people make like queer centered art and like art for that kind of like community. So I don't know, I had like a niche to fill, and it actually like worked out really well.
Yeah, you kind of had a I don't know, like a burst of a following. Like people were like looking at it for education. I know when I first saw it, I didn't know that we had talked on like email before when you're a little tatter tot.
So funny.
But when I first saw it, I was like, oh yes, this is like what we do, or like this is what sex looks like, and like I hadn't seen any other like imagery that pertained to like my life, right? So I was like immediately like, oh my god, this is amazing, this is beautiful, you know. And there is like the romance aspect, which I know you talk about with your OnlyFans and stuff, and I'm like, it's just beautiful. But then you started being like really interactive with people too.
That too. And I think about this a lot because like before tattooing, like how I had emailed you, just like ages ago, wasn't like super seriously thinking about like getting it into tattooing or any of that, just kind of like asking for information. But like you replied to me, and that was like super, super cool. And like this happens all the time where I feel people reach out to like artists and then they have this like untouchable persona where they don't respond to DMs, don't like interact with their audience.
Yeah.
um, and it makes it scary. It makes it scary to like get into this stuff. Like you can see somebody's art and be like, wow, that's like really, really cool, but if you can't connect with the person who makes it, there's still that disconnect, and you don't feel like as safe in that space, like acknowledging or appreciating this kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, I like to reserve my DMs specifically to have like conversations. That's like the main reason why I don't take like tattoo bookings over DMs, is because
Yeah.
I do get a lot of like really personalized messages or like responses to like my Instagram questions, and I like having those conversations. And it's just like, it's crazy because I know like a lot of people don't have an outlet or don't have queer friends or live in a place where it's like not okay to talk about this stuff. And if I'm like their outlet or the one person that they can and feel safe like connecting to and talking about this stuff, I'll do it. And it's like, it's super cool. I don't know, it
I mean,
makes
they're
me
seeing
feel
a queer person, like you're from the Bay Area, so you're like used to it, but I don't know, I'm from like North Carolina, and like to see like any like queer person just putting themselves out there and be like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing and like this is beautiful. It's like,
yeah.
oh, whoa, like oh my god, like you're so brave, you're so bold, and it's like, well, we live in a bubble, but ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Like actually Portland and the Bay Area is a little bit of a bubble, but
Yeah,
it
totally.
is super cool. I wish like when I was growing up, one, I had access to social media so I could see like what other people were doing, but like mostly queer representation, because like that stuff was so hard to navigate growing up. Like especially I feel like I've learned so much about myself and like my sexuality and all that in the past like 2-3 years
Mhm.
from tattooing, and just like how that's branched out into like educating myself about all these other things. And then I take that, I draw something about it, and then I post it for the masses, and then they can relate to it however it works for them, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think it was like your art was definitely needed in the tattoo community.
Yeah, it's
Um,
been fun.
I went into that. So your OnlyFans. How'd you
So
get into that? And was it like a COVID situation? And what do you
um,
put on there? You know, I've only
I
seen like clips of stories, but I'm like, it looks like really sweet. You know, like also like romantic, like with your boo and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah, tell
it's
us
cool.
about that.
I had like known about OnlyFans for a while, and I had made an account, but I was too scared to post on it for like a long time. Like I was definitely sitting on it, just kind of like, I don't know if I should like actually do it or like whatever. Until I started dating my current girlfriend, because she's been on OnlyFans. That's like her primary job. That's like all she does for a job now. She makes like a living income from it. But after we started dating, she kind of just like convinced me to like do it. Like it's a fun time. Like you learn more about yourself. It's like a great confidence booster. You can connect with people on like a different level. And so I like started in COVID mostly because I like completely stopped tattooing when everything shut down. So I had the time to like really think about it and like take pictures that I felt good about. I didn't have the pressure yet at that point, like at the start of COVID, to like make money. So I was like in this like kind of like weird comfortable spot to just like start exploring that stuff. Um, but like honestly, just like seeing the kind of content that she posted,
How
just
long
like
had she
inspired
been
me.
doing it before?
I think she started like last winter, so maybe like 6 to 8 months she had been on it before we got together, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was just like it was really cool to see like what she was doing and like just like how much money she could make by investing in that and like just working hard at it. So it was, yeah, it was super cool to have her kind of like help ease me into it. And I think that is also a big part of why it has like that romantic lens, because it's like it was like my relationship that kind of like launched that and like started the whole OnlyFans thing. So yeah, like I post content that's like solo content. It's like more from like my like masculine perspective, but then also when I make content with her, I'll like be in the opposite role, and then she'll be like more dominant, and just like I don't know, exploring like both roles like with her and without her has been like really really good and really cool for my own like self exploration. And then with that I branched out into like following other sex workers like on Twitter and then subscribing to their OnlyFans, and that's mostly how I gain like inspiration for content, and also just asking like Instagram questions and kind of seeing like, oh, what are people interested in, what do you want to see from me, or what do you want me to like talk more about.
Yeah.
Because there's been times where I like had been asked on Instagram about certain kinks or whatever that I was never into or like never explored before. And just like seeing that question made me think like, maybe I'll just like try this out or like bring it up with my girlfriend and we talk
That's
about it.
awesome. That's like pulling something out of a hat. It's like, all right, what are we gonna do today? And
It
then it's
is,
like,
yeah. It is very much like that. Like so many ideas and just like things that I've never heard of, never seen like on the internet or whatever. Which is really cool. And that's like another way that I like branch from Instagram and just like the tattooing and all of that into like OnlyFans. And then that has like made me discover all kinds of other sexual things that again I like draw about and I talk about and I post about, and it just like it goes back and forth. So it's like I don't know, I feel like being on OnlyFans honestly has like improved my art and just like expanded the kind of stuff that I draw, especially like in that like queer lens, because
because you're
yeah.
mostly drawing like the new things that you learn about too, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like a big part of it. Yeah, that would definitely help. How did you like? Okay, if you go on OnlyFans, how are you like? Oh, for sure, this is gonna stay pretty queer, like my following. Like,
What do
what
you
it?
mean?
I don't know. Like, I would think that like my like worry that it would be like how do I get a queer audience? You know?
I feel like, well, because in OnlyFans itself doesn't have any kind of like search engine or like way to like browse people or like the kind of
Right.
content that they have, because it's all private until you subscribe. You have to promote it on your other social media. So the
Oh.
only way that I've gained an audience from OnlyFans has been from Instagram and from Twitter. So it's like pretty much everybody I feel like who is on my OnlyFans or like subscribed to me comes from Instagram. So they already know like who I am, the kind of art that I do, the kind of stuff that I talk about. And then that just like goes over to my OnlyFans following. And it was like super interesting when I first started because I expected all of my like subscribers just to be like queer women or whatever, because I feel like my art is like a little bit more feminine or like from that angle. But it like I feel like there's a lot of like cis het men on my OnlyFans, and I think part of that also is because they are like discovering their queerness and kind of like interested in exploring all of that. And again, because I've created this like safe sexual space on Instagram, they go on my OnlyFans and they'll ask me for like specific content or like ask me questions. Even on my OnlyFans, I get like really personalized questions about like, oh, I'm like curious about this and this, like, they want more information or like some advice or something. So yeah, it's all just interconnected, but it all comes from Instagram. I think everything starts with like my Instagram following.
That's awesome. I didn't know that it didn't have any search engines or anything either, but that was definitely something I was like thinking about. Like, how'd you get like such a solid queer following? Like, I know how you did with your tattoos. Gabe said I have to slow down and show these tattoos off more. Do you have a favorite tattoo lately?
Um, I did this one tattoo. It's like
I'm gonna
up at
start
the
at the top.
top, one of the first. It's like a devil girl lifting her shirt up, but that was one of my favorites that I've done.
Oh yeah, this one is so
Yeah, I do love that
cute.
one. Just like very simple, cheeky, and it is erotic, but I don't know. A lot of people have told me that this one is just like super cute, which I like. I like
It is
doing
super
erotica
cute.
from that lens. It's not like misogynistic, it's not creepy or like,
Right.
exploitive or anything like that.
Yeah, there's some pretty like creepy erotic tattoos out there for sure. Like this always seems like, oh, sweet and like oh so cute to me.
Yeah,
Um I just saw you posted this one and it looks different from your other stuff, but I was like, I don't know, it just looks beautiful.
thank you.
Those colors on it.
That too. I feel like I'm an artist who gets so bored with like drawing styles or like themes that I always end up cycling through them. It was like also interesting because I noticed for a while I stopped drawing with color, and I think it was like COVID and like quarantine and like winter and fall just kind of like drew that out of me, and I stopped using color.
Yeah.
And then now that like spring's happening, like the sun's coming back out, I'm like, yes, let's do more florals and color and like cute things. But it all
The
happened in
depression of like the Portland no sun and everything. You're
yeah,
like the
seriously.
colors are dead.
And so am I.
These look beautiful. What I really wanted to do with you, if anybody has any questions in the Q&A, I would love to go through questions because I feel like that's kind of your thing.
It is, good.
I could have warned people first a little more.
There are a
Um,
couple comments. Do you want me to read them? Do you want to
yeah,
surf
yeah.
over on the phone?
I can't see them anyways.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm down for you to read them.
Okay, so Nakobe says there are some rad tattoo artists that are contributing to the anti-racism BLM movement protests with their art and really doing active community care via the summer protesting and beautiful protest art. Have you contributed to this movement in any direct way?
I have. I think I did like 2 or 3 posters and fundraisers at the beginning of that, but also it's
Do you have
not
a
just
poster?
about, huh?
You have posters on your thing?
Yeah, it was I think in back in June or July. That was when I wasn't tattooing and I was actively going to the protests. But yeah, even then I donate monthly and I offer free tattoos for BIPOC. I've been offering that since last summer. So during the summer, like when I did start tattooing again, I was doing one every other day. Right now, comfortably, I could do one a week, or yeah, one a week. So it's like 4 a month. But yeah, I want to continue doing that for as long as I can.
That's pretty amazing for the Portland area too, because there's like I know that there's been like a lot of like white supremacist rallies and stuff. And it's kind
Yeah,
of like
it's
oh, free
crazy.
tattoo man, take a stress reliever out of Portland, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the bigger thing with changing that in the tattoo industry is just like getting more BIPOC to get tattoos, just having more information online, like on my highlights, on my story of just like how to tattoo different skin tones, like how to adjust colors, all of that color theory, changing line weights and things like that. Like we talked about earlier, how they don't teach any of that in tattoo schools, but they
right.
should. I know a lot of my artist friends are posting a lot more information on that, and also even like how to photograph tattoos on different skin tones, because that's like a whole art in itself.
Yeah,
Um,
that's real.
yeah,
Tattoo school should really hook that up if that's what they're doing, but also I can see the community pulling together to try to like educate each other on that,
Yeah,
which is
I think that is
pretty
way
good.
more valuable than
A
just
lot
like
more
any
effective.
kind
Yeah.
of like institution to do it, because it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen fast enough.
No, yeah.
I feel like Instagram is such a great source for that, and like just the dialogue that's happening right now in like the tattoo community, especially like the queer and like female centered community with tattooing that has like changed in like the past couple of years. I feel like that's where a lot of the dialogue is like beginning and like starting. So it's an ongoing process, but yeah.
Yeah, hopefully like more apprenticeships for BIPOC people. That's what I'm trying to like open my doors up for. Just
Yeah,
get more of those tattoo artists, less gatekeeping, right? Like
yeah,
of just like
super crazy. I think it was like my second tattoo ever. I was in the shop in San Jose. I don't even remember the name. It was just like some shop my dad took me to when I was like 18. And the artist was like an Asian tattoo artist, but he was like talking to me about how I should not get color tattoos because it'll look better if they're just black ink and like all of this. And I don't even consider myself like dark skinned. So like hearing that was just like super shocking. And for the longest time, I didn't get any color tattoos at all until I moved to Portland, started tattooing, had a friend who did color tattoos, got a color tattoo from him. And I was like, this looks amazing. Like it looks so cool.
I think
So
there's
I'm just trying
definitely
to
like
fill my body
two
with
things
color.
whenever somebody says like, oh, like because of your skin tone you can't get color. I think it's definitely like, one, you're racist, two, you don't know how to tattoo. Like
Yeah,
if you can only
literally.
tattoo white people, like what are you
It's
doing? Like
crazy.
get out of
Yeah.
here.
Oh God, I know. I see that shit everywhere, and it's just like having gone through that too, as like an 18-year-old
That's
trying to get
why
like my first tattoo, like it was kind of traumatizing. And I like know that there's so many other people who have had worse experiences.
it can close you off. Little experiences like that can close you off to the whole like tattoo
Yeah,
community
from getting
or
a
like
tattoo
going
for
into
so long.
shops. Absolutely. So you're like
Yeah.
scared they're gonna say something weird.
Yeah. Which also I love that on Instagram you can find artists who are friendly and who know all this stuff, who know how to tattoo, who share this information, actually care about learning this stuff. So you don't have to just like put the pressure on walking into a shop and just like fingers crossed they're cool and
Yeah, we're just gonna wing it.
yeah, like that's so nerve-wracking. So I'm glad that yeah we have this kind of social media way of like getting that information out.
And getting to know people's personalities. Oh, go for it, Gabe.
I was going to say it is worth noting that on the Reinventing app, there is a discussion panel for tattooing on dark skin. We had about a half a dozen tattooers on there, all talking about their experiences and dispelling all the stupid myths and whatnot.
That's cool. I want to check that out.
Real quick, there was a question that came in about the tattoo schools from Taylor Chapman. Is there any sort of program between the schools and shops to help graduates find a shop to work in after graduating?
Unfortunately, there isn't. And again, that's kind of like the part where some people just end up dropping off after tattoo school. The shop that I started working at after I got my tattooing license and like graduated tattoo school, the artist who messaged me like before I started tattooing and like kind of persuaded me to like get into tattooing, it was a shop that she worked at, and they happened to be hiring an artist like when I got out, and so I just like directly walked over and just like applied and tried for the spot. But again, even that I feel like it was so much easier because I had spent my time getting tattooed by these artists, and just kind
It's
of like
like a
collecting
huge
art.
move, right?
Yeah, and just yeah, networking is just like so important. This is like what I recommend to everybody when you're in tattoo school, to get tattoos by artists that you admire. Talk to them, like become friends with them. Even like in this like pandemic world, it doesn't necessarily have to be in person, but you can be a friend with somebody online by like supporting their art, replying to them, talking to them, all of that. It's like all of that is just like very valuable. So yeah, you definitely have to put in a lot of like your own work in order to like have those doors open for you.
Yeah, that's definitely what we tell people looking for an apprenticeship too. It's like, oh, how do I get into this? Like, get tattooed by your favorite people, meet those
Yeah.
people, you know. And
I know, and that's not just for like getting into shops, but like you can learn so much just by getting tattooed by other artists and like watching what they do, watching what kind of equipment they use, or like what kind of inks they use, and like all of these things. It's so much like so important.
I still do that whenever I get tattooed. I like choose like my favorite artist. I get my last one was by like Ty McEwen, and just so I could like creep on it and be like, oh, that texture. Oh, how are you doing that? You know,
Yeah.
it's like a life learning thing. Like
Yeah, even like what volt are you using, or like how are you doing that? Did you like turn your machine down? All of those things.
I learned about using like multiple different tones of white. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who does that? And I was like, he does that shit. It works.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so another comment and question. Elizabeth says, Portland has a rich history of being a sex worker city for years. How do you feel about people who see OnlyFans as gentrified? That is, like, what is your opinion on this with going between the tattoo world and sex work? I guess it might be two questions. How do you feel about people who see OnlyFans as gentrified? And then, what is your opinion on this with going between tattoo world and sex work?
I guess the reason why I have kind of a biased opinion on that is because I know a lot of sex workers who were sex workers like at the strip clubs and stuff in Portland who transitioned over to OnlyFans during the pandemic, because it is a good, safe way to kind of continue to do that stuff from the comfort of your own home without having people in your proximity. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like the time is just like it is good for OnlyFans because of the world that we're living in right now. I do see like the gentrification of it when it comes to like celebrities and stuff being on OnlyFans, because that just like completely tips the scales, and it's just like their audiences are just like so greater than like a regular like sex worker or whatever, like a local sex worker. So there's like issues with it because it's just like anybody can do it, and it's glorified online as like, oh, it's like so easy to like gain like a following, but that's because these people have like an Instagram following, because there's no search platform on OnlyFans. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of 50-50, I guess.
I guess, yeah, that does make it weird. I didn't think of that as like a bad thing necessarily, but like you literally have to have a strong social media following.
Yeah, either
not like
that or knowing how to kind of promote on social media, or being very consistent and persistent about it, which is not like easy for everybody. It's like weird because like I don't know, I feel weird sometimes where I'm constantly posting like on my Twitter, like promoting my OnlyFans, and I'm like, oh, the friends that I have on Twitter are like so sick of seeing this because it's the same link over and over again. But then it's just like every time there's like maybe one or two new people who are going to see it, and then there's value in that. So again, it's like hard because if you have a social media following and you get on OnlyFans, you're gonna make money instantly compared to somebody who doesn't have a social media fan. And that's the way it's kind of it's like an advantage. Like it is an advantage. So
yeah,
I do see where
and
it is.
I feel like the other platforms before for sex work was like Craigslist, personals and stuff like that, and then it all gets ripped out. It all got like, so that's like,
just like killed everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it sucks like how much OnlyFans takes out of what you earn, like for use of the platform.
How much do they take out?
20%, which is, I mean, it's kind of a lot. Like overall, when you're making like trying to make like a living wage on it, it is like a lot of money. But you're also paying for like the use of the platform, how streamlined it is, how easy it is to like go on live and like get tipped and like all of these other features. Like it is useful.
Yeah, that's not the worst percentage. I thought you were gonna say something like 40%, right?
Yeah. But then it's 20% and you still have to pay taxes on what you make. So it
probably
is
30% of all your money goes.
Yeah, so it ends up being more. So it is kind of shitty. But again, it's a useful tool for a lot of people, especially people who don't feel comfortable doing sex work in person, or like physically can't, or whatever the case is. And yeah, again, like a lot of the sex workers I know in Portland have invested a lot in their online like profile or like Instagram before OnlyFans was even a thing. So a lot of them can get on OnlyFans and like be this online sex worker to people all over the world or all over the US, not just in Portland. So it also expands their ability to make money, like more money in addition to what they already make, doing like stripping and stuff like that. So again, it's like a double-edged sword. There's like so many great things that have come because of OnlyFans, and also like the legal protections against like revenge porn and like fraud, like somebody making like a fake account and like selling your nudes and stuff like that. But there's a lot of downsides to it too.
Oh, how would people never mind, I'm not gonna get into that. I was like, how do you just steal people's images, make a whole nother OnlyFans, and then
I see Twitters doing this. Like a Twitter will pop up being like a fake version of like a sex worker that I know, and they'll be like, you know, Venmo me, DM for like nudes and whatever, and like pay me through PayPal. And then it's just like a fake account. They're just like stealing somebody else's like OnlyFans pictures. Like you can get sued for that.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Gabe, what was the second part of that question? Gabe, do you know?
The second part was, what is your opinion with going between the tattoo world and sex work? It's like having a foot in both worlds.
Like my opinion.
Well, so far it's like really helped you out, right? Like it's been like the stuff you've learned from the sex work has gotten to go to your art, which goes to us, you know, like
yeah, I feel like it's just this like back and forth like relationship again, because like I'll be on Instagram asking questions, I like learn about these new things or even like terminology, new kinks, new things, and then I'll go explore it like with my girlfriend or in my free time by myself, do that on OnlyFans, and then I'll receive feedback on OnlyFans, like people will be like, oh, I like this kind of stuff, or like, have you ever done this? And then I go back to Instagram and then I like draw about it, and then I post about it and I talk about it, and then it keeps going back and forth. Which
there's not a lot of tattoo artists who could pull that off, you know. Yeah. It's like just
I feel so blessed that like just the art kind of themes and stuff that I ended up sticking to just lended itself to this, and just
didn't get talked out of it. Nobody, you didn't like stick to the idea of like, oh, you need to draw more roses, just or like you need daggers. Where are the daggers?
Sometimes, like, what would I be doing if I was still just drawing skulls? I don't know. My life would not be as fulfilled as it is. It's been such a good time. Like, I'm so thankful that I get to do this.
It's awesome. Do you have any other questions, Gabe?
Yeah, there's a couple more in here. I guess one of the questions that I have is, how do you deal with trolls? And I say this because we've got one.
Oh. I'm so glad I can't see the chat ever. I'm like, just wild. I don't know.
Trolls like on Instagram or OnlyFans or both?
Yeah, or YouTube, or I guess Instagram was one of the, or just in general, right? I mean, right now we have them on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, we'll just ignore them.
Yeah, ignore them?
I don't do anything.
Awesome.
It sounds boring.
It is. So let's see. So Nicobia is saying, I agree with the last person. This was 20 minutes ago maybe. But I agree with the last person. Do you feel like sex workers who are on OnlyFans, since the strip clubs are closed, resonate with your tattoos?
I'm not sure what that means, like resonate with my tattoos.
Because it's not like stripping isn't like the subject matter. It's just erotica and beautiful. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I would say like, I guess I've tattooed like a bunch of strippers in Portland. I mean, maybe just like the sexual freedom and like being unapologetically ourselves. I think people can like resonate with that. But I would say it's completely not limited to sex workers. I tattoo all kinds of people in like every industry. I think it's something that a lot of us kind of can get along with. You know, we have a lot of the same interests, even though we do all these different things for work or like have a different outward expression of ourselves. But, you know, not all people get tattoos to show them off either. Sometimes it's more just like for the self, for how people feel about themselves. So yeah, I would say it's like some sex workers might resonate with it, but hopefully everybody can resonate to something that I draw and all the stuff that I draw.
Like a lot of people have sex and have romance.
Yeah.
It's the relatable aspect there.
Okay, let me, I've got One more here. Do you, okay, I guess the way to talk about it. Do you have any issues getting deleted from IG, or are there sex workers who get deleted? I mean, obviously, you're
You
going to
have
be
a
in a
whole
position.
backup
Yeah.
account.
Yeah, okay, so that thing is super weird, and I feel weird about it because I regularly get reported. I've been reported for sharing like a picture that was like on Vogue Italy. Like it was on their actual page. I shared it on my story, and then I got reported and it was taken down from my story for like nudity or whatever. Um, and I'm constantly like, tomorrow it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get nipped in the bud, but I haven't been deleted yet. And I know sex workers and other people have had their profiles deleted after being reported like once or twice. So I feel like there's definitely something going on there where I'm probably not getting deleted because of the size of my profile. Which is what, it's like we
Do
talk
they
about.
do that? They
I
just
don't
they like
know.
keep you around if you're like highly active on Instagram.
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know what Instagram does.
Right? It's like
so
these
weird.
guys like behind curtains, like they have no idea what the
Yeah.
hell they're doing. The algorithm.
Yeah, it's so weird just because I am so certain. I get the like little notification that like your profile may be deleted because you don't follow community guidelines, and it'll show me like an entire report of all the times that I've been reported, like the time,
Whoa.
the month, the date, the image that I got reported for. And like from what I've heard, once you get that, you get reported one more time, you get cut. But I've gotten that and then been reported, and then I still haven't been cut. So yeah, I don't know. It's super, super weird, but I kind of feel like that's also why I'm very pushy about it. Like I'm not like, get reported. I'm not gonna post like sexual drawings for like 2 months or like whatever. I just keep doing it and just like
Yeah.
keep doing it and like pumping it out. Um, yeah, just kind of like being testy with it. Like I really don't know what that
Have you
whole
gone to
system
like
is.
Instagram jail where it's like frozen for a while?
No, I've never had that happen to me either. And I had a friend recently like get that Instagram jail like notification because they like replied something mean to like a troll on who was commenting on their like picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I didn't even know that that was a function that Instagram did. I didn't know they like blocked people or like barred people from like commenting for like a certain period of time. So yeah, I don't know. It's super weird. And like I'm just like stating the
That's
fine
pretty
line that
wild. I would think that you would be like, oh yeah, I'm in Instagram jail like every other week, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I would be too. I'm so
But
surprised.
it's also like definitely art. It's not like it's not like fucking, I don't know, porn or anything. Some like
I mean,
degrading shit like you're
I've
or
been
like
reported a lot of times for posting like OnlyFans pictures like on my story. I got reported for adult sexual solicitation for including like my OnlyFans link on like the swipe thing on my story. So even that one especially, I was like, oh, they're like nabbing me now for like posting porn basically. And I still haven't been deleted, so I don't
that's
know.
pretty wild, pretty lucky.
They're gonna see this interview and they'll be like, nah, we're cutting you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Fingers
I
crossed
also
it
see
doesn't
your
happen.
backup one, your backup Instagram, like in case I get deleted, is rising in followers. So you're gonna be once they finally do it, you're gonna be
Yeah, I know, right? I feel like it's a matter of time, but who knows? Like, I part of me feels like it might just be because my profile is big enough where they're like, oh, this person's making Instagram money from advertising or something. I don't know like how that shit works, but I feel like they're keeping me around or something. It's
That's
weird.
good though. Did your dad draw people? I know you said that you learned to draw people from your dad's art books.
Yeah,
He like really into
so
drawing?
he was in art school when I was like a child and like learning how to like write and read and all of that. And so yeah, he was taking a whole bunch of like live model drawing classes, anatomy classes, and all of that stuff. So he had a ton of books about it. And when he wasn't home, I would look through these books and just like try and figure out how to draw this stuff. And then he would try and sit me down and like formally teach me like how to draw bodies. And I'm like, I hate this. I want to go outside and like
No, Dad, I'm not interested. Meanwhile, in your bedroom, like
yeah, literally, I would go to school and like doodle faces like on the corner of my notebooks. I used to get in trouble so much for like not paying attention and just like drawing all the time. But yeah, it was all just like anatomy books and just like people and faces. And he used to also just keep a sketchbook. And so like every time he would like take me to the park or whatever, he would just sit and like just draw the people walking around, like gesture drawings or whatever. So yeah, that was like my intro to art and just like what kind of like piqued my interest as a kid. And I just kind of like kept drawing that kind of stuff like when I got older, even though I stopped drawing for like a lot of years when I was in college. Like once I started drawing again, I was like definitely my favorite subject to like get back into.
it sounds like you like accidentally got into your destiny as a kid, like with the anatomy
Yeah.
drawings and stuff.
I know it was there all along. I tried to
Yeah.
avoid it, but like in the end, this was like what I love the most.
It's like, this is your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Gabe? Good questions. I want people who want relationship advice. This is what I want to do. I want to do love line, and then we just tell them no, I'm just kidding. If there's none of those, then fine.
Well, not yet, but they might come in now that you've asked. How about
Yes.
are there any friendly conventions that you've either been to or recommend, or supportive conventions?
A tattoo convention or
Yeah, tattoo shows.
Oh, have you been to the Seattle Tattoo Convention?
I have not. I wanted to go to that one,
That's
but
cool.
ended up like never going. I went to one convention. It was like my first or second year of tattooing. And it was in Portland. It was whatever, like the Portland Tattoo Convention. So it was like super small. But I just wanted to check it out. My shop was going. So I was like, yeah, sure. Like I'll rent the booth for like one day and like check it out. And I did not like it. I hated it. It was like tattooing at the convention is very, very stressful. There's like a million booths, a million tattooers just like all over the place. There's like 2 stencil machines. So I'm like,
seriously, you have to bring your own. That's the rule.
Yeah, I know.
You can't fuck around. Do it by hand or something.
Yeah.
I don't like them either. I don't like bringing all my ink. Well, actually, Ian makes fun of me for that because he just does black work. He has one black bottle of ink. He's like, I love tattoo conventions. They're great, you know? And I'm like, I need 45 different colors and they're all going to explode. And
yeah. And it's just like, it's just not ideal and comfortable to be tattooing with a bunch of people drinking and eating and like walking around and like looking at like what you're doing, who don't know you, aren't interested in your art or like anything like that. You know, they're just here to like hang out and stuff.
I swear, last time I was at Seattle convention, they put the 2 like gay shops beside each other, and then it was like kind of fun, you know. But like most of the time I'm like, nobody likes us here. This is weird. Like,
oh my gosh, it was so funny because that year I like my entire flash book was like really abstract erotica and just like really weird, and like nobody at the convention was like doing that kind of work. It was like more traditional stuff.
yeah.
So like a bunch of people would walk by and like, oh, check out my flash book, and I see them open it and they're like, they just like, and just like nervously walk away.
I was looking for a skull. Weird.
Yeah, it's not the like audience. Like it's definitely a more just like universal mainstream audience. And everyone who went to that convention seemed like a little bit older. I tattooed 2 people at that convention who only went to the convention because they saw on Instagram that I was like going and they came in to get tattooed by me.
Yeah.
So again, it's just like I prefer having that intimate connection of like somebody who has followed me on Instagram, who knows what I'm about, they like know what they're getting into, they have an idea of what they want, and then being able to have a conversation like without just like trying to like shout out to your client. They're like right there. You're like, can you hear me?
And like each convention has like different like style flavors and stuff, and some of them are pretty fun. But with the Queer Tattoo Alliance that we like organize here in the Bay Area, like our big dream is to have like a queer tattoo convention. That was like the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
do it.
My friends in
do
Berlin,
it so bad.
My friends in Berlin at Baby Berlin, they opened like the studio. We're trying to organize pre-COVID like a queer tattooing convention in Europe, and I was gonna go to that. And I think it was going to be in August, and I was like so stoked for this to like actually happen, but then COVID happened. But yeah, I think like once like
that would be great.
It would be so fun. Like, I don't know. That would be like super cool. And I think I would like the idea of going to a convention like in Europe or just like somewhere else, because then I get to network and like socialize with other tattoo artists. Like that is for sure the cool part. It's just like being in a space with a bunch of artists that you can walk around and talk to.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to go to the conventions with the shop and not tattoo and just get drunk with all the artists after.
Yeah,
It's
I was gonna
just the
say,
best.
I
Like I don't have
think
to bring anything. Like
Yeah. That I
That's-
definitely in the future want to do that, because
I just want to work the booth. Be like, you want a T-shirt? Cool. I've been drunk since
yeah.
2 o'clock. Yeah.
That sounds super fun. Yeah, I like that. And they
Don't have to,
do
like,
sell
worry about
cool
people
merch
walking
and
in.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I get the best shirts, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've got probably the perfect closing comment. Kiara
line.
says,
Oh.
yeah, exactly. Kiara says, did someone say love?
Always.
Yes. Yeah, you need any advice? Come on, we got you.
Right. It's my
We're
favorite.
the most trustworthy, I think. Just
Oh yeah. I'm in love, so you can trust my opinion on it. I swear.
I know I'm doing. All right. Yeah, that's it for us. Got any closing out statements, Gabe?
Nope.
Or
Oh no,
Anything
you. Yeah, so you both need to let us know exactly where to find you and give all the closing contact info.
oh yeah,
and,
you're right. There is a whole closing thing.
Yeah, and the inspirational statement. Everybody, everyone's always pretty happy, but
Okay, well, you can find me at Haley Adams Tattoos on Instagram. You can follow Brittny at Blabad. That's how I read it. How do you read it? BLAABAD.
Well, my last name's Abad, so I guess
Yeah.
Abad. Like somewhere in there. It was like a Yahoo generated like email with like my initials and my last name from
I always
like,
wondered about that.
like the early 2000s. So I just like kept that forever. But yeah.
And then there's also now an Instagram for Live in the Castro. It's at Live in the Castro SF, I believe. And
I think it's Live in the Castro Tattoo, right?
Live in the Castro Tattoo.
Think
Yeah,
so.
see how new it is? It's
I
very
think it's because I was trying to type it earlier and I was like, oh, it's not
Yeah.
coming up, and then I had to look that.
But you can find any extra photos. I'll be posting random things on there. I just got the first 2 episodes transcribed, so I'm going to be figuring out where I can post those so they can be read instead of listened to. And yeah, that's all I got. Gabe, you got anything?
awesome. No, I just want to let you all know that I'd be happy to help support your convention. I have all of the documentations and all of the stuffs.
You've
And,
thrown a lot of conventions. Yes, we need
A fair amount, and they're quiet ones in the middle of nowhere. They're always friendly to all the communities. We want to empower everybody, and but yeah, like I said, if I wouldn't be able to organize this one, but I would be able to give you all of the information to help.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. And your mom says a great interview, and there actually was a
mom
little bit of
or your
some
mom?
questions about advice about talking to partners and whatnot. But I said that they should probably DM you directly because
Yes. I will do it. Actually, I did Instagram questions today, so they could just throw it up like right now.
perfect.
Dang, I wanted to give love line advice. All right, cool.
Next time.
I'm gonna give the worst advice though. Nobody should trust me anyway.
We should do drunk love advice sometime.
Yes,
Oh,
Gabe, hook
yes!
us up.
Done. You let us know when. We'll figure out where the platform is. But I'm down.
Fun.
Well, actually, frankly, Drunk Critique is a fine platform for that. It doesn't say Drunk Tattoo Critique. It's just Drunk Critique. So, or Drunk
Yeah,
Advice.
that would be great.
Shit, I wonder
We'll
if
be
Drunk
like-
Advice is.
Love
I'm
critique.
down. Love critique. Perfect.
Awesome. Well,
Tell me
thanks
the
again. We're very excited for next month's episode, and everyone should be definitely checking out the library and thank you very much. This is awesome. So excited to do it, or to help.
Great. Y'all can listen to it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.